The Who. It's hard right now on States and Kingdoms. Welcome back to States and Kingdoms. Today we're talking about The Who and their album It's Hard from 1982.
It's been a long time since we talked about The Who.
I know, and it's so funny because
we haven't talked about it off camera.
that's not true.
We only talk on camera.
If only that were true. Is it true?
That's my line.
Oh.
You want to fight about it?
Yes. Fisticuffs?
What, fisticuffs?
No, it's funny because The Who is like one of our very most beloved and favorite bands, and people that watch us, they might not know that about us.
No. So the last thing we talked about was The Who by Numbers, I think.
It was a long time ago.
I don't remember when that was.
Forever ago.
But this is an interesting album.
This is their best.
Because I was thinking about this album, and I said to myself, wow, we're not corny. Anyway, I was just thinking what an interesting album this is, because it's definitely, I always considered it, I guess the my least favorite Who album after the first one, really, because I didn't listen to the first album very much.
No, me
but
neither.
after that, everything.
Yep.
A ton. Listened to everything and loved everything. And this was definitely listened to less. And I didn't think it was as good. But I was listening to it, thinking about it. It's really an interesting album.
Yeah.
I never thought it was bad. I still don't think that.
No, because I loved Face Dances when I first listened to it. And this is a very long time ago, but I mean, that was a big album for me. Mm-hmm. This album isn't that far from Face Dances.
Or is it?
Well, sonically, I can put them very close together for me. And I really did always love Face Dances. And, this album didn't quite grab me when I first was going through all of the Who albums. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, it's really a good album.
It's a flawed album.
It's a Who album.
It's just a very interesting one because, Pete Townsend, I said that, they were uncertain whether they should even make this album, and Face Dances, as a matter of fact. Roger Daltrey didn't really like it, or, and a lot of people were kind of disappointed at the time, and, you feel like you listen to it and you could think that they've kind of just lost it, they've lost their edge, or something of that sort. To me, the primary thing on this album is, as far as the songs are concerned, no, I don't think they're as good, on the whole, as the previous albums. We used to talk about, did Pete Townsend hold some of his songs back,
for solo
albums? And maybe not, but he was writing so many songs at that point.
Yeah.
I feel like
they can't all be winners.
If maybe if he had just focused on the Who knows if maybe Face Dances and this would have been, continued the level that they had been. But, they're still, to me, what's interesting, because there are some bands that, just really fall off. Really, and great bands that do. Yeah. I'm not going to name names.
Don't, because it might hurt my feelings.
But, for whatever reason, they lose their way, their styles change, their personal, whatever it is.
Also, when you get older, it naturally...
Yes, when you turn, 28, it really changes things.
When you're going at such a high level, you're the Who.
Well, I think the aging thing really did affect Pete Townsend a lot.
I think that was a thing.
Because he really did promise everyone he was going to die.
And he's...
And here he is,
still ticking.
Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. He's doing just fine.
Yeah.
But no, I think
he's 70% alcohol.
No, I think his reckoning... No, as Johnette was a lot. I think his reckoning with aging is very much a subject of this album, and I think
for John Whistle too.
I feel like for younger people getting this maybe at the time, they just couldn't relate
to
that at all. Like this was sort of them getting older. Yeah, John Whistle songs are also kind of about that, and so it's very introspective album. An album for not exactly older people, but I mean, not 18-year-olds. Yeah, maybe. That being said, it's not as strong an album.
No.
And it's hard to put your finger on. It's like, what is it on this album that, what's sort of missing that's there on, say, if not Face Dances, Who Are You? Who are you? And, it is hard to put your finger on.
I know it's easy, if you're going back to Who Are You and then going to Face Dances, or It's Hard, you think, well, obviously Keith Moon isn't there anymore. But musically, I'm not sure what he was exactly adding on Who Are You. Because he was kind of,
He was adding to Pete Townshend's frustration, trying to get him to play the drum parts.
Yeah. Which maybe
that's it.
He wasn't angry enough.
Yeah, he wasn't angry at Keith enough anymore.
We just figured it out.
Yeah.
He's too happy.
I always thought Kenny Jones, he's a great drummer. He's, solid. Yeah. And I really think he's technically a better drummer.
Yeah, I think that's true.
To say he doesn't fit, I think is completely not true. He does
Sorry,
fit.
he's not zany.
I mean, it's just that the Who are those four guys.
Yeah, of course.
And I mean, that's like...
That's a different conversation,
almost
whether or not they should have...
If you put Keith in the Small Faces or the Faces...
Right.
How that would have changed that sound. Yeah. I mean, he's perfect for that.
Well, that's something that we've talked about, too. Whether or not they should have stopped being the Who...
Yeah.
Well,
and that's always the thing, because it's like...
But now we know that they kept going even without John.
Yeah.
And they're still...
Pete's going to go with that. If Roger's first, Pete is not stopping. He's going to be the Who.
I am the Who.
It'd be funny if, the
other way around.
Zach...
Oh.
If
he's the last one.
Continues,
I'm the Who.
Now I'm the Who.
No.
It's like Spartacus.
Now I am the Who.
No, anyway, it's an interesting album, because you take this band that was so brilliant, so amazing, for a pretty good stretch of time. That's a lot of really great albums. I can, from Who Sell Out to Who Are You?
Yeah.
Maybe it's only 11 years, but it's a lot of brilliance.
Crazy good run. And I think also one of the things, just in general, when you're talking about a band that has made so many thematic albums, concept albums, rock opera, whatever you want to call them. Highfalutin albums. And then they eventually, like you have to, go back to doing more of a collection of songs that aren't so,
which was really
linked.
Who by Numbers.
Right.
Which
some people don't like. Yeah, and I always loved, and you always loved.
Yeah, I think that's a masterpiece, actually.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. Who Are You? I love too.
You just can't expect a band to keep
No.
churning out. I mean, what they actually did is already kind of crazy. We're talking about Who Sell Out, Tommy.
But I mean, so for Face Dances and this, I don't know if there are any other albums from a band of this stature, albums like this, where it's such a crossroads. They're very introspective. They're unsure. That you can kind of get that, and it's easy to dismiss them. I'll still forget them. It's easy to dismiss this album, but I think it's actually has some great moments. It does have some really great songs.
Let's talk about a few songs.
Okay, but on the whole, if you're a Who fan, this is still the Who. I think you can still really latch on to this very easily.
Why not? Why not?
A couple of things I find fascinating. Like Athena, to me, still sounds like the Everly Brothers. Like that is still in him. It really has like a Bird Dog kind of a sound. Mm-hmm. Every time he does that.
Yeah, it's his bass line.
It's like he's a bird.
Yeah.
John has 2 songs. Dangerous.
I love. I think it might actually be my favorite song on the album.
It is a really good song. It's Your Turn always seemed kind of weaker to me.
I think it's his weakest on the record. One at a Time.
Still fits in though with the more like introspective kind of aging.
Yeah. One at a Time I think is great because it also just has that like classic John Entwistle sound. It starts with the horns, and it's got that like driving.
I love it when he sings his own
rhythm.
songs. Roger Daltrey is one of my favorite.
Well, that's why Dangerous
Did we pick Roger Daltrey as our favorite singer, rock singer? I don't remember on that thing.
You did. I went rogue.
I
think you did.
Well, if I could have anyway.
I think you did.
Well, I'll take your word for it.
Maybe you did.
I don't know. Who cares? Anyway.
Yeah, Roger Daltrey is such a powerhouse.
But I really like it when John sings his songs.
Yes.
Because live, of course, usually they sing together because otherwise Roger has nothing to do but just stand there and.
Yeah, Dangerous is great because John sings it, and I think it's just an awesome.
And One
song.
at a Time that's actually my favorite of his songs. Pete's songs are I don't want to say all over the place, but they cover a lot of ground. I mean, there are more introspective songs like One Life's Enough that are kind of,
It's a very pretty song.
Ballad-like.
Soft ballad, a little bit like, it's a little reminiscent of Love Is Coming Down, and really nice.
Not too long.
It's very short. Roger singing in the beginning almost doesn't sound like him. His vocal is like so, like soft. Like he's a lot of his singing on this album is a little gruffer, and on that song it just starts out so, soft and pretty, like melodious.
Who Are You? Like you've got great song, memorable song, on Face Dances in this, that's less. It almost, in a way, but so how do you say this? Each song doesn't necessarily stand out on its own as much. I think they work as an album, though.
Yes, I agree.
So it's not like an album of singles. It's really an album, and I wouldn't consider that filler. Like each song is, from a great songwriter, two great songwriters, telling sort of stories, you could say. I mean, not sequential narratives, but I mean telling their emotional stories, whatever. But so like Cook's County is an interesting song, and I think very well done.
They all have a little something, like a little tweak during the chorus or something that has that iconic Pete Townsend guitar sound, or it's got a really interesting the way he writes songs. He's such an amazing master songwriter, so it's still in there.
Side 1 I think is pretty strong. Side 2 is where it's interesting. It's the closest to like Pete solo stuff to me that the Who got.
That's probably true.
And that's.
And my love opened the door.
It's sort of I don't know. It depends on how you feel about his solo stuff. And, Too Happy. There are some really good moments, some really good songs like the ones we just mentioned. I've Known No War.
That's a good song.
Is a really good song.
That's a really good song.
Probably should have been later. Maybe on the side. Cry If You Want is also a very good song, and a little bit more aggressive, I would say.
It does. It has a
little bit of an Everly Brothers thing going on. If they did like a 2-part harmony,
you would have really heard it.
I just love that stuck with him. All that time. It's a big influence.
Yeah. It's
an interesting album, and it certainly is a Who album, of course, and there's still a lot here to enjoy, and if you're a big fan, it's actually kind of gives you gives you a little insight into where they were at the time, which is which is also interesting.
I think also just like really really quick, you and I have said this off camera.
No, we didn't.
But the Who makes us happy.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Even when they're sad, or the songs are maybe a little depressed, or they're questioning things, or we're getting a little older, or whatever, the Who still makes me happy.
They're one of those
Not
bands,
sure why. Everything they do just feels
joyous.
Right, and just feels like so good. Like I love listening to the Who, from whatever you want to consider their weakest album to their greatest. Like I just think they're just amazing.
Yeah.
So this is still something that
there's still that greatness on this, yes. Yeah.
So thank you so much for watching our discussion of It's Hard by The Who. Please make sure to let us know in the comments what you think of this album. Make sure to like this video, and please subscribe to States and Kingdoms. More videos coming out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We'll see you next time.